Hello, this is Eric Bune of Indico, and I am going to run through a brief tutorial on Indico's calculator for the new CDM incentive mechanism that is being proposed for LDCs across the province of Ontario. Please note that the calculator is based upon our understanding of the electricity conservation and demand management targets released by the Ontario Energy Board on June 22, 2010, and may not necessarily reflect how the incentive mechanism will function in its finalized form. Instructions on the use of Indico's calculator are provided in the gray box at the top of the spreadsheet. This tutorial describes the instructions in greater detail and also examines some of the features of the proposed incentive mechanism. To begin, select your LDC from the drop-down list. As an example, we will select Burlington Hydro Inc. This automatically displays the gigawatt-hour CDM target for 2011 to 2014 and the summer 2014 peak demand savings target for the selected LDC. The contributions of the selected LDC's targets towards the total provincial targets are displayed on the right. The maximum incentive that could be claimed by the selected LDC is displayed in the first yellow box below. This maximum incentive would be claimed if the selected LDC meets 150% of both its energy and its summer 2014 peak demand savings targets. Next, we will input projected energy and peak demand savings. Enter a value for how much energy the selected LDC projects to save between 2011 and 2014, and a value for the peak demand savings the LDC projects to save in summer 2014. Remember, these savings should only be from programs starting at some point between 2011 and 2014. Values are entered in gigawatt hours for energy savings and in megawatts for peak demand savings. As an example, we will project that Burlington Hydro will save 100 gigawatt hours and 25 megawatts. The contributions of the selected LDC's projected savings towards the total provincial targets are displayed on the right. Entering both projected energy savings and peak demand savings will calculate the size of the incentive that the LDC would receive. This value appears in the second yellow box below. The figure below compares the maximum incentive that the selected LDC could receive to the size of the incentive that the LDC would receive if the projected energy savings and the projected summer 2014 peak demand savings are met. The table below the first figure gives the incentive rates that exist for each tier of the six-tiered incentive mechanism. Note that no incentive is awarded to an LDC for any kilowatt hour or kilowatt saved below 80% of the respective targets. Similarly, no incentive is awarded for any savings above 150% of either target. More importantly, it should be noted that the incentive rate indicated in each tier is only applied once both the energy and peak demand savings meet the indicated percentage range. For example, to be awarded Tier 4 incentive rates, both the energy savings and the summer 2014 peak demand savings must meet 120% of their respective targets. The two figures below, the first displaying the size of the energy incentive received, and the second displaying the size of the peak demand savings incentive received, help show in which incentive tier the projected energy and peak demand savings will fall. As an example, consider a scenario where projected energy savings are 135% of the selected LDC's energy target, and projected peak demand savings are 85% of the LDC's peak demand target. In our example, this corresponds to a projected energy savings of 113 gigawatt hours and projected peak demand savings of 18 megawatts. As expected, the peak demand savings will fall at 85% of the target, which is within Tier 1, and all of these peak demand savings will be incented. This is indicated by the point here. However, the energy savings do not fall at 135% of the target, which would be mid-Tier 5 here, but are capped at 100% or the top of Tier 1. This is indicated by the point here. This means that only the energy savings up to 100% of the target are awarded an incentive. The remaining energy savings that amount to 35% above the energy target are not incented. However, if peak demand savings are projected to be 130% of the peak demand target, which in our example would mean projected peak demand savings of 29 megawatts, then in this scenario, all energy savings amounting to 135% of the energy target are incented, as indicated by this point here. And all peak demand savings amounting to 130% of the peak demand savings target are incented, as indicated by the point here. Recall also that if either the energy savings or the peak demand savings do not meet at least 80% of the respective target, neither incentive is received. For example, if projected energy savings are only 65 gigawatt hours, then we see that neither the energy savings incentive nor the peak demand savings incentive is awarded. The final two tables show how the gigawatt hour and megawatt targets for the selected LDC are derived. The 2011 to 2014 energy savings target are derived from the provincial energy reduction targets for residential and non-residential classes, as well as the selected LDC's portion of total 2008 residential or non-residential energy consumption by all LDCs that have CDM targets. For this particular LDC, the total energy CDM target is 84 gigawatt hours. Note that this target is derived by a specific split between residential and non-residential classes. While the LDC must deliver a mix of CDM programs across all consumer types in its service area, the LDC does not have to follow this exact split when meeting its energy target. The summer 2014 peak demand CDM target is derived from the provincial peak demand target, as well as the selected LDC's average contribution to the top 10 system peak hours based on 2008 and 2009. This particular LDC has a total summer 2014 peak demand savings target of 21 megawatts. This concludes our tutorial. For more information on the proposed incentive mechanism and how your LDC should prepare for it today, please contact Indico Strategic Consulting by reaching David Heaney at 416-204-0356 or Eric Buin at 647-259-9488.